Let's return to our panel here. We're joined now by Florida Republican Congresswoman María Salazar. Thank you so much.
Of course, wonderful to be here with you.
And we were talking.
Loud, though.
It is indeed loud. Can you hear me okay? We were speaking earlier about this weekend's assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump. And you were saying that you believe he is a fundamentally changed man. Tell me more about that. Why you hold that view?
No doubt about it. I have people who are, well, thanks for the opportunity. I have people, as a member of Congress, people that are very close to the president, and they have assured me that the conversations they've had with the president, they understand that he is a new person internally. I mean, when you are exposed to this type of incident where you understand that you could have lost your life in that minute, he now understands that the Almighty and the powers from heaven gave him another opportunity, which is a fantastic experience to go through, and that will definitely make him a different person. Therefore, we'll have a different party.
Can I follow up on that? What does that mean for you in terms of how he could lead or govern if reelected? Because I think it's also fair to say this is a man who's used incredibly harsh rhetoric before. He's insulted and disparaged his opponents. He's used some racist and offensive language against a number of groups. Do you think all of that has changed?
He was a very strong character, and we understand, we all know his personality.
But do you think that has changed?
I think that has changed for the better, because now he's more contemplative. Let's use that word. Maybe not spiritual, maybe not religious, but he does understand that that God spared his life and gave him another opportunity to do good for the country. And what does that mean? I would say that it's to lower the political rhetoric, and now we have to be fighting the ideas, not the people. And that's the way the founding fathers created this nation. At least that was their original idea, right?
And to Amna's point, during his first term, there were these perennial predictions that his tone would change or that he was becoming more presidential. And what we saw was a remarkably consistent Donald Trump. I hear you say that something's different.
That was before a bullet almost blew his head. You see, there are moments in life when they are so of biblical proportions that change you as a person. And I do believe that that's what, from what I'm hearing, that's what has happened, as it would have happened to anybody.
How should the weekend's events change the approach of this party, in your view?
I think that the Republican Party, according to my understanding, I represent the largest minority in the country, the Hispanics. And
you represent Miami-Dade County in Florida.
I represent Miami-Dade County, which is one of the most diverse districts in the country. I would say the most, because we have 17 different nationalities. So I'm looking at it from the point of view of what's good for America and what's good for the average Hispanic, which comes to this country to live the American dream. That's what we want to preserve. Give me the opportunity to live the American dream, the same opportunity my parents had. I was born 6 months after they came escaping from democratic socialism. And that's what we want for our children and for everyone who is trying to come to the country, which is, millions of people wanting to come to the United States. So that's what we represent, the GOP represents, the American exceptionality and preserving it. No revolutions, evolution. Let's improve the system. Let's don't change it.
Well, let's talk about the issues, because as you mentioned, Miami-Dade, it's almost 70% Hispanic. Am I right on that?
78. My district, yeah.
Well, how do Hispanic voters view this issue of immigration? Because the polls have shown that increasingly Latino or Hispanic voters want to see border control, and they rank it as a top issue.
Listen, immigration, and I'm not sure if I am shouting, so I apologize.
You're absolutely fine.
To be discussing this type of issues under this background is really challenging. But I think that immigration is one of the most toxic topics in this country. And as you know, I wrote the only immigration reform law on the table right now, called the Dignity Act. But Hispanics understand that there's no way that it's good for them or for the country to have an open border where anyone can come in. You have to create a division between two groups of undocumented. The ones who came in the last 3.5 years, 8 million people, and the other 13 or 14 who have been here picking up the jalapeno peppers in Southern California or the tomatoes in Miami or the oranges in Florida. Those people, I believe that because they have been here, they don't have a criminal record, they have American children, they have contributing to the economy, they have been paying taxes. Those people should be looked at it with dignity, and we can expand on that later. The people who came in the last 3.5 years, we don't know, we really do not know what intentions they have. And let me tell you something which I am livid, because the Biden administration has caused the worst, or has done the worst disservice to the Hispanics, because that border has been opened for so long. Those topics that were important, the Dreamers, the DACA, the TPS, all those people who were waiting for years to have some type of legality or dignity have been forgotten.
When you say,
and I don't like that, because the Dems have been promising for 30 years to do an immigration reform law, to give some type of answer to these people, and zero. And look what happens now with the open border.
Congresswoman, understanding all views, certainly among Latinos, Hispanics, it's not a monolith. We know there are lots of different unique views on there.
Could you repeat that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Understanding that among the Latino population, it's not to be viewed as a monolith. There are a lot of different views there. There was a chance on the table for bipartisan immigration reform, unlike anything we've seen in this country for 30 years. And former President Trump pressured Republicans to walk away from that. Was that a mistake, knowing a lot of people want to see that reform?
As I said, and I would say that I am one of the leaders of immigration reform law in Congress as a Republican. It's time for the party to unite with the Democrats and find a solution for immigration, not only for the illegals who are here, for the legal immigration, people that want to stay after they study at the university and they want to contribute in Silicon Valley. It's a wide array. But I do believe that now, because we are in a different era, that is going to be achieved, or at least we could start the conversation of what are we going to do with so many people who have no documentation in this country.
Again, was that a mistake to walk away from that bill, though? I know you say you want to work towards it now.
I couldn't hear the beginning. I'm sorry.
Was it a mistake for Republicans to walk away from the bipartisan immigration bill?
Oh, you mean too little, too late at the time? You mean the Langford? Is that the one you're talking about? The one in the Senate. I didn't like it. I like the dignity bill. I think that was just a little patch just to do something. Let's do something real and deep. That was not the case. My bill does it. But like I said, immigration is something that it's very toxic, and that the discussions need to be, you need to have the political willingness to really sit at the table, Democrats and Republicans, and try to solve, starting with the undocumented.
Congresswoman, you were part of the red wave of women who were ushered into the House in 2020. You defeated a longtime Congresswoman, Donna Shalala. What's the expectation for this time around? The expectation for Republicans' chances in holding the House and potentially expanding their margins in the House.
Well, you have seen what the Biden administration did during 4 years, and you have seen what the average American is saying. That's the same thing that's happening in South Florida. The economy, the inflation, the border, the weakness in the international arena from the United States. I mean, Hispanics look at it just like any other American. And unfortunately, the Biden administration has made it easy for the Americans to see that the course that we're taking right now is not the right course for their lives or what they need for their families.
Congresswoman, talk to me about this ticket, the Trump-Vance ticket. How does this help you or others in down ballot races? It's not exactly an expansion of appeal, right? It's sort of more of the same message. What do you think the impact will be on down ballot races?
I believe that J.D. Vance, my community is going to look at him as another proof of the American dream. I am the American dream. The guy was born in poverty. His childhood was highly compromised, which can crush anybody if you have to go through what he went through. And he was able to have the internal fortitude to come out of that. And because the system gave him the opportunity, he went to law school, he went to the military, and now he's a VP. Where does that happen? So if you are, let's say, out of the 17 communities that I represent, if you're Venezuelan, if you're Colombian, if you're Brazilian, if you're Cuban, or if you're Dominican, you go, wow, I want to do the same thing. So that's the way they're gonna view a J.D. Vance.
But isn't that system, public schooling, public assistance, social programs, aren't those the things that Democrats promote?
I didn't hear the last part,
system
I'm
that
sorry.
J.D. Vance used to pull himself up, those are programs that Democrats promote.
Hey, it's the programs that everyone wants, because I would like, as a Republican, to have good schools for the Browns and for the black kids. I want to give assistance to those who need it. Yeah, sure. I'm not saying that that doesn't belong to any party. It belongs to the American system. But once you get that help, and then you just move, and you use the system to keep us moving forward without the assistance from government. And so that's the way I will see it. I'm sorry.
It's difficult. We have a lot of background noise competing with this. But Congresswoman María Salazar, a real pleasure to speak with you. And we'll have you back when we're not competing with so much noise on the floor.
Thank you for bearing with us.
Ideal. So then I can definitely hear you better and give you a more rigorous answer.
We'll look forward to it. Thank you so much for being here,
My pleasure, and thank you
Congresswoman.
for the opportunity.
Sure. Be well. Take care. Let's go.